Let's start off with something really, really pretty. Someone sent me this. There's a difference between price and value. Okay, so one day a rich dad took his son on a trip to a village. So you have a rich dad and his son. He wanted to show him how poor someone can be. They spent time on the farm of a poor family. On their return from the trip, the father asked his son, "How was the trip?" "It was great, Dad," said the son. "Did you see how poor people live?" the father asked. "Oh, yes," said the son. "So tell me, what did you learn from the trip?" asked the father. The son answered, "We have one dog. They have four. We have a pool. They have rivers. We have tube lights at night. They have the stars. We buy food. They grow theirs. We have walls to protect us. They have friends. We have television. They spend time with family and relatives." The boy's father was speechless. Then his son added, "Thanks, Dad, for showing me how poor we are." That's real. Some people are so poor that they only have money. And in this time of economic unrest, and it is, with fiat currency, our currency is based on the promises of liars. You have to start understanding what is valuable and what is expensive. Because my whole time that I was in Hollywood, I was getting paid a lot of money, but I never experienced something like this. This is my son and I and my wife were at the beach recently, and my wife took a video of this, and I just want you to show you one moment that is worth more than everything I experienced while being on television or in Los Angeles, being in movies, being on Leno, being on Fallon, being on all those shows. This moment was better than all of it. This is only 30 seconds. That's it. I mean, and that, I'm sure that got you, right? Just skipping a rock with your dad. Just having your son look at you while you skip a rock and try to skip a rock. There's no price for that. How much did that cost? The rocks on the beach are free. You just time with your son. And the amount of time I've been able to spend with my son, he looks up to me and he wants to be like me. There's no price for that. The definition according to the United Nations of genocide is Article 2. In the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a nation, ethnic, racial, or religious group as such. Killing members of the group. We all know that that's genocide, right? Causing serious bodily or mentally harm to members of the group. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring apart its physical destruction in whole or in part. Okay? Imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Article 3. The following acts shall be punishable. Genocide. Conspiracy to commit genocide. Direct and public incitement to commit genocide. Okay, one of the reasons that people like me and others are called conspiracy theorists, and we are not allowed to speak publicly without condemnation, vicious responses, because we're pointing out that right now there's people that are conspiring to commit genocide on groups of people right here in the good old US of A. The way media works is it tries to convince you that genocide is just killing people, that you have to have camps, you have to have gulags. Everyone's scared about these chambers of death. No, genocide, according to the United Nations from the 1940s, include causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting conditions of life calculated to bring about the destruction, in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. Sound familiar? That's happening right now on a mass scale. You can get around it, though. The beauty of this type of genocide, is it requires your consent on a level. According to a study that was pro-pornography, by the way, this is I like to go with people that are bragging or pushing the thing that I'm against because it's a better source of truth than people who already agree with you. Both male and female pornography viewers had better attitudes towards women working outside the home, which will lower the birth rate, were more supportive of abortion rights, the killing of the unborn, which according to the United Nations is an act of genocide, in comparison with those who would not watch pornography. In addition, male pornography viewers had more positive attitudes about women holding positions of political power, like Sweden, in comparison with non-viewers. There were no differences between pornography viewers and non-viewers in terms of their feminist identity, all right, whatever. So, pornography is intended to, according to the definition of genocide, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. That's the definition of genocide, according to the United Nations. Okay. TV, as you can see here, a grabbler taking a dump on the souls of its viewers. Just toilets. You watch Bambi to see your mother get killed. You watch Lion King to see your father get killed. And then what? You run to the devil mouse. Why? Because it makes you easy to control when you're traumatized. Trauma-based mind control. When you're traumatizing children and scaring them and scaring the hell out of people, they will do what they're told. Look at this. Swedish scientists propose cannibalism to fight climate change. This is the result of some of this trauma. These people are so terrified of nonsense. There is no global warming. It's not a real problem. Generation X was terrified of quicksand. True. People used to not want to walk in the woods because of quicksand. Quicksand kills approximately 0 people a year because it's nonsense. The Bermuda Triangle and Bigfoot. My generation was scared of AIDS, acid rain, and using hairspray for global warming. I mean, for the ozone layer, because when the ozone layer goes away, the sun will give you cancer immediately, right? None of it was real, but yet people still think that these trauma-based mind controls, this one's now the real one. It's unreal. They traumatize you into thinking the grabbler is the victim, the Muslim is the terrorist, and that the ice is melting. The ice is not only not melting, we're probably entering a mini ice age. That's the reality of the situation. If there was no change in climate, they would call it climate static fear. Fear. So what's the point of fear? If you can convince people to eat themselves, to kill their own babies, to commit genocide against themselves, you have power. Why do they want power? Because they're short. Wait till you see this thing. And yeah, I call them a thing. Check this out. So one of the Bears was looking up the shortest players in the history of the NFL. Look at this. Who do we have here? Jack Shapiro, 5'1". Look at that thing. You even have Tariq Cohen. Someone got a little grabble in there. So it all comes down to height. I know that sounds insane. It's that simple. It's like, look, this little grabbler's dad probably owned the team, right? And so he tried to play and he just got destroyed by actual men. So what do? They just try to scare you all the time. You can't make this up. The shortest player in NFL history was Jack Shapiro. I'm guessing he died after the first snap. Fear. What actually will kill you? Even these stats are a little off because they believe NASA like idiots. Airplane, boat, and spaceship incidents. 1 in 2,499. Yeah, they had to add spaceship just to bring in like the nonsense of like the Challenger and say it's all good. Assault by sharp object, 1 in 2,500. Any force of nature, 1 in 2,586. Choking on food, like Mama Cass, that big fatty who used to do propaganda music, 1 in 3,461. Bicycling, a Schwinn is 1 in 4,030 in your lifetime that you will die of a Schwinn. Police law enforcement is way down to 1 in 7,703. Accidental gunshot is 1 in 8,349. Mass shooting is 1 in 11,125. So you're more likely to die from a Schwinn. Electricity, thunder tugging, radiation, heat, pressure, 1 in 15,000. A heat wave when you're very old, 1 in 16,000. Sharp objects in general, 1 in 32,000. Venomous animal or plant. If you see a grabbler or a shapiru and they bite you after not washing their mouth after eating someone's ass, 1 in 44,000. A foreign-born terrorist. So the likelihood of a Muslim killing you in an act of terror is 1 in 45,000. The act of a Schwinn is 1 in 4,000. One of the reasons I'm trying to break the Muslim fear spell is because it's one of the more ridiculous spells. That the Muslims are the terrorists. And by the way, I'm not a fan of Ilhan Omar, and I don't want any more people coming to America. In fact, I think a lot should go home. Now that that's on the table, we can talk about how Muslims aren't just like dying to take you out because of your freedom. You have to be retarded to look at the stats and think that. It's dumber than the AR-15 fear. And we all know that that's ridiculous, right? The odds that you're killed by a rifle is, you're more likely to die from a bee. You're more likely to die from a ham sandwich. You're more likely to die from hot weather. So, I know that I've become extra impressed by the Amish because of their ability to build barns and the Muslims because of how good they can take care of goats in a desert. I get it. I like people that can do things that I am impressed by doing every day. I'm a goat guy. I have 7 goats. But the fear is, it's strangling you. The real fear is having your country. Sweden isn't drowning in Islam. It's drowning in female leadership and nonsense. They could import, they shouldn't be importing people. It's global economics. It's migration itself. Has nothing. If they were flooded with British people, it wouldn't be fun. It would be less insane than people from Somalia. But the way that you commit genocide is you take an ethnicity, Swedish, and you make it so that they're not having Swedish children anymore. That's according to the United Nations, not the Daily Stormer. That's the United Nations. Pushing race mixing on people is considered genocide. I'm not saying you can't have a race mixed family and have a great family. My wife is part Hispanic. I mean, she looks pretty damn white in my defense. But, she's got the ethnic eyes. So love is love. Family's family. Me and her. And by the way, praise be to God, please God, give us a child. But she thinks that there's a good chance she's pregnant right now. But don't give me congrats because there's a good chance she isn't. But we're really pushing for number 3 here. But women sometimes know, and and she's really feeling good about this last month. Another reason I've been a little pro-Muslim is because a lot of Christian churches are becoming disgusting. And I'm not trying to get people to become Muslim. I'm trying to get people to become Christian that call themselves Christian. Okay? The church where believing in God isn't strictly necessary. At a Presbyterian church in Manhattan, social justice and environmental issues unite the congregation. There's Bible stuff too, written by grabblers. Okay? When Christian churches become synagogues like this church, they're not Christian. That's why I'll post stuff like this. Quran, Jesus is the most quoted prophet and Mary is the most holy woman in this book. Talmud says Jesus is boiling in semen in hell and that the Virgin Mary was a whore. That's true. Grabblers will say, that isn't in the Talmud. Yes, it is. I've verified it. Many, many sources. Former Jews, all right, all good. I'm not arguing with you. That's in the Talmud. That is in the Quran. Guess which one modern Christians support? My point isn't to become Muslim. It's to become Christian. Stop acting like Talmudic grabblers. And when you see stuff like this, you realize there is a threat. That is Satanism. Environmental issues is anti-human. Want to know what environmental issues leads you to? Swedish scientist proposes cannibalism to fight climate change. God willing, I like that. Thank you. Churchians disgust me. Me too. Me too. And the reality that you people have to face, anybody that's a churchian who thinks they're so much better than the world because they go to a church and not a mosque, has to face the reality that a lot of Muslims are acting more Christian than you. Christian. I'm not saying become Muslim. I'm saying take the Bible seriously. And it's a wake-up call because of how much moral bullshit people feel because they're not Muslim. At least we're not Muslim or Jewish. We're Christian. It's like, well, they act more according to the Bible than you do. They give Jesus more credit for their life. You follow horoscopes and Oprah. You whack off to pornography in your basement. It's like, wake up, flip the tables, dude. It's time to flip the tables on the Pharisees. Not like literally. You don't actually flip a table, but emotionally. And one of the reasons that I have so much respect for the Amish is that they can resist usury. One of the reasons I have so much respect for Muslims is they resist usury. No one's accused me of becoming Amish. But people spiral about Muslims. Yeah, Vox is a genius. Bible Lawyers is beautiful. It's a beautiful way of describing it because it's the entrance of the synagogue of Satan into your church. Do you understand what the Talmud did to Jews? Jews aren't inherently grabbly. The Talmud permits what the Torah forbids. It's a great way to describe that to somebody, what the Talmud is. The Talmud is a legal document. It is not the words of God. It is the babbles and grabbles of a bunch of thousands of years of rabbis trying to get around God's law so that they can do whatever they want. Okay, we're now seeing that with Christians at a mass scale. If you read the words of Jesus Christ and then you say, well, what this really means, you just became part of the synagogue of Satan. You can have a cross around your neck. You can call yourself a Christian all you want. If you take the word of God and the law of God, and we all know what it is, and you start doing legal bullshit around it, and you start rewriting it, the Schofield Bible is a step closer to a Talmud for the Christians. You're not above this. You're a human being. Over thousands of years, Jews became grabblers. Not all Jews, but a lot of Jews became grabblers. A grabbler is nothing more than someone who litigiously and with nonsense, man-made arguments tries to get around what we all know the natural law is. Satan is the will of man over the will of God. The will of God, one of the reasons why homesteaders and farmers are so based, and one reason why grabblers hate them so much and try and monopolize food, is because they're so hard to trick. You watch God's grace every single day as he turns dirt into food with just light and water and following his law. Last night's stream was so awesome. Great window into real life. Right, that's real life. That's a real life of someone following God's law. You're blessed with children. You're blessed with life. You're blessed with food. You're blessed with happiness, joy, gratitude. That all comes from following God's law. When you follow the Talmudic, litigious, rules for thee, but not for me, because I have arguments 3, tee-hee, you will be damned to envy, lust, sloth. It just write down the list because you're now in the covenant of Satan. And it's growing, but so is Logos. The divide is so clear. And the response to saying anything good about Muslims was so much more insane than when I would talk about the Amish, that I knew a spell had been cast. And in order to free my people, I must break the spell. The spell is that Jews are inherently victims and Muslims are inherently terrorists, which isn't true. And even with the fake nonsense terrorism that we experience, the odds that you die of a terrorist attack is basically zero. The odds that you die of despair and fear is extremely high. Okay, so why do the fear merchants hate Donald Trump so much, and why do I like Trump? Is he bought and owned by some grabblers? Yeah, he has like he's a marionette with 2 strings is how I describe him. He's not full of fear. Okay, like during the hurricane, Trump retweeted this. Okay, so Trump tweets that, and of course, the Pharisees are pulling out their hair. They're going, ah, right? Why? Because they require fear. So as they're promoting more weather fear, which is the new fear, it used to be quicksand, acid rain, the Bermuda Triangle, the ozone layer because of hairspray. It's so they're promoting this fear that everyone's going to die in this new nonsense hurricane, and in reality, you're probably going to face maybe some water shortages, traffic. He does this joke, and they just spiral because he's relieving fear. Trollmaster, yeah, but he's also a fear relief. It's what I do too. That's why they hate me. They don't hate me because of my specific politics or because of my specific. It's because I mock fear. And if you're not scared, they can't commit genocide against you. You will have children. That's why I have no tolerance for despair. It's why I have no tolerance for people that are like, it's coming, man. Any it's coming, man has no place here because that's the cancer. You know, I'm still worried about Y2K. You know, I haven't gotten to the bottom of it yet. I'm still terrified. I can't open up a bank account because Y2K is coming. And I can't use hairspray because of the ozone layer. And, AIDS. Fear is from Satan. And the master wizards, like Roosevelt was a master wizard, FDR. The only thing to fear is fear itself. And you guys are like, wow, so true, so true. No, that's a paradox. Fearing fear means you've accepted fear. And yes, farmers and homesteaders and fathers will have a much easier time seeing through nonsense because you just logically look at the quote. The only thing to fear is fear itself. So he's basically saying, be scared, even though you know you shouldn't be. It's master wizardry. Ebola, West Nile, mad cow, bird flu, swine flu. It's never ending. The whole point is to get you to not have kids. It's been the trauma-based mind control is to get you to not have kids and to live a scared life so that they, according to the UN, can continue committing genocide. The ADL, the Jewish Defamation Defense League or whatever, they have a chart in their offices of Caucasian American population and how it's going down, and that's their goal. That's literally their goal. They're committing genocide. What are their tools of genocide? Quiet weapons for silent wars.